Introducing your trusted source for high-quality Black emojis, better known as Blackmoji. We believe Black is beautiful, and that beauty should be reflected in the digital market. Now there is an app that does just that, starting with Black Greek letter organizations. Blackmoji D9 offers more than an emoji app. It is a cultural experience of Black excellence. Download the app in the Apple or Google Play Store to access a specially curated catalog of emojis representing the Divine Nine. Use the emojis to celebrate Black Greek events, acknowledge current events, support social causes, and learn about esteemed Black Greek members who blaze the trail of Black history. A portion of every subscription goes toward a scholarship fund specifically for members of Black Greek letter organizations to help keep the legacy alive. Download the Blackmoji app today.
All right, well, Angela Oya Fumike. As you know, this is I Do, I Did, I Don't on the What's in It for the Black People media. Start our way into this journey of divorce and healing.
So we came together under a survival mentality, not under a friendship of being in love. First being friends, and then being in love or growing in love. We came together under, we're trying to survive, we're two kids trying to survive. Okay, we're going to survive together, because if you're handling this end of the survival and I'm handling this end,
years that you've accepted this is what it's been, and now you've made this decision, and he wasn't there. He wasn't even seeing that you were done.
Here's what it was. Just like I ignored on the front end that he didn't love me like that, he was so disconnected from me by the point when I decided to leave that he didn't see the writing on the wall.
Wow.
He just didn't see it. But he didn't know that woman because he never took the time to meet her.
Mm-hmm. And so you created your plan, and that's key, I think, in having a plan. If you are going to, whether you're deciding together that this isn't going to work any longer and we're splitting, and having a plan on how you're going to move forward is pretty key. You knew at this point I had to create your own plan, and you were moving forward with that. In my case, I didn't have a plan. Things happened pretty abruptly, and I was creating a plan on the fly along the way. I don't recommend that. You forgive yourself. You forgive you. Do the work of forgiving yourself that you may be able to actually forgive others.
You keep calling it. Give you some love, you want all of it. I'm out here working, nigga, get a grip. I'm just trying to touch your mill, if you just wanna coexist. I say you clingy and you contradict. Give you my heart, you think it's counterfeit. Give you my word and you won't trust in it. What's the point of loving me if you don't know what trust is? I need the is you give now. Please don't back down on me. I know you've got the attention I need. Put your pride aside for me. Oh, 'cause I need that ease. Put your pride aside for me. That ease. While I'm not trying to get that ease, know that I need that ease. Put your pride aside for me, baby. You're insecure, it's driving me crazy. I'm trying to get it and you keep on saying it. All my love is never enough. I put up with you for too long, now I'm over it. You want affection, I need money.
Good morning, good morning. Good morning, good people. This is Tasha Napper here on What's in It for the Black People Media. Good Sunday morning. I would like for you to like the show, share the show. I have some really good information coming up today. Just some good conversation, some things that are going to spark some really great thoughts around the topic of divorce. That's what we're here. This is I Do, I Did, I Don't on What's in It for the Black People Media with Tasha Napper. And I'm excited. Good morning. I see some of the faithful watchers that are here. Great to be with you this morning, and thanks for joining. Make sure you are liking, sharing, and following this broadcast, What's in It for the Black People Media, as well as the I Do, I Did, I Don't page. Glad to see you all. And, last week we were talking about the children and making sure that they are well. We were talking to a pediatric psychologist about children and trauma and divorce and whether divorce is really trauma. And in her case, just in case you missed that show, go back and watch it. There is such great information there. But in case you did not see it, divorce is not necessarily considered trauma unless there's some kind of physical harm that's going on with the children or parents and things that they're witnessing. But a lot to work through. So great information. Make sure you go back, take a listen to that show. But today, as I started thinking about this, I said, my experience has been an interesting one. Lots of other women have had these experiences around divorce. And why is it that we seem to keep repeating the same experiences, mistakes? What's happening? What is it about this that we are not learning or sharing or maybe listening? I'm not sure what it is, but we can do something about the learning part. Like I can do something about the sharing part. And that's why I do this show, because we're navigating divorce as men and women and trying to find our way and figure out how do we do this in a way that is going to keep us whole at the end, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually as well. So how do we walk through this and do that? And so I started thinking about all the things that I didn't know, all the things that nobody told me, all the things that I wasn't taught along the way about marriage and about divorce. And oftentimes we are trying to navigate it on our own from the things that either we saw that were good, that worked for that one relationship, or we're navigating it and trying to do the opposite of the things that we saw that were bad from that one relationship that maybe we saw growing up or, we saw modeled in some way for us. So it made me think about, how do I start to share this information with the younger women? And part of doing this show is to make sure that folks have the information and that they're able to create a better outcome because they are educated about marriage and about divorce. So there are plenty of shows out here telling you what you need to do to be successful in a marriage. Not a lot of shows talking about what do you need to do up front to be successful if the marriage does not work out well. And so I want to share this. I did my own poll. A Family Feud says we conducted a poll of 100 people. But in my case, I conducted my own poll. And I said, what marriage advice as a divorced woman, what marriage advice would you give to younger women? Now, guys, stay with me because I want to, I'm going to come back. I want to do this poll with the men as well so that we can understand both perspectives. But this was the women poll today. So as a divorced woman now, what advice would you give to younger women? And I got some good information. If the younger woman was getting married, what advice would you give to her? And let me just tell you, there were a whole bunch of don't do it. A whole bunch of folks said, just don't do it. And I thought about that and thought, okay, well, why? Why are people saying don't do it? Has everybody had a negative experience? no. But if you're divorced, then there has been some kind of negative experience, and that's who I'm polling, right? So this is from that point of view. I'm not about to tell you how to have a great marriage necessarily, and all the things you have to do, but there are some things that you absolutely should do. You know, your premarital counseling, have some conversation. But this is why people said don't do it, because we're not prepared. We are not prepared to understand how to be successful in marriage and the things that we have to do. We are not prepared because we haven't dealt with some of our own issues. We're not prepared because we don't understand ourselves enough to be married and going into a relationship with another person. And we are not prepared because we don't understand what happens in divorce. I think if we started from the beginning understanding what happens with the undoing of a marriage at the end, it would absolutely influence our perspective about what we do to just safeguard ourselves in the process. So make sure you're liking, sharing, and following the broadcast. Hey, May, I see you. And hey, Cassandra, great to see you all this morning. Okay, so don't do it. Don't do it because it's not worth it. That's what people are essentially saying. It is not worth the trouble. And why is that? Why is it? You know, before I did a show where I talked about the sort of the history of marriage and why it was important as people had property and people had, this need to take care of themselves in a culture that was agrarian and largely focused on property. And that was if the husband died in those times, you needed to have some way of taking care of yourself and your children. Or you needed to, so people attach themselves for a lot of financial reasons before. Hey, Octavia Bestie. Yeah, so it's great to think about why you really want to be married. If it's for financial reasons, you might want to think about that, because in this day and age, the need to do that is not necessarily the same as it was before, and the reasons for getting married. A lot of folks felt like on the back end, this was just not worth it because I lost so much, or because the relationship went so far south. And so it's really, really, really important that you really understand what the process is at the end, because so for example, let's talk about this. So for example, when you're getting divorced, you have to complete a financial disclosure or a financial affidavit, which means you have to disclose all of your assets, everything that you have, and because now that's going to get split, right? This is part of the property that's going to get divided in the divorce. Did you do that before you got married? Did you disclose all of your assets? Did you have the other person disclose all of their assets? Did you see each other's credit report? One of the big issues in marriage is related to finances. Do you know how that person handles their finances before you're deciding to join finances with them? So a lot of things like that happen, unfortunately, that can impact the relationship negatively and cause the divorce later. And so many people just said, don't do it, because it just may not even be worth it. So for the folks that said, okay, I can still rock with marriage, what was their feedback? They said, number one answer, wait. We're moving too fast. Sometimes we need to just date and gain perspective about relationships and gain some experience with relationships. Experience a few folks before you settle in and hone in on this is the one. Maybe it seems like the one because you don't have enough experience and enough perspective to understand even what you want, let alone what you can provide to the other person in a marriage. And so folks gave a lot of really good feedback around wait, get your perspective, take the time to observe the other person. It's easy to say what you would do, but it's different when you do what you do. Now, I know that was not great English. However, I think you got my point, right? Easy to say what you would do in a situation. You need to take the time to observe whether this person does that. How do they respond to conflict? Be patient. How do they, it's going to come out. You give your relationship some time, the longer time that you have being with someone, you are going to see how they respond in different situations. How do they respond to conflict? How do they respond to your suggestions? How do they respond to money issues? How do they respond to other people they don't like, for example? How do they treat them? It's really important that you give yourself time and you're patient to allow the situations to present themselves so that you can actually see and make a good decision. We are often in this period of euphoria when we're dating and everything is wonderful. I'm not going to call it the honeymoon period because you're not married yet, but we're trying to show our best to the other person. We're trying to say, look at me, look at how great I am. I'm a good choice for a spouse. When you've decided that that's someone that you think you might want to be with, then we start to try to make the sale, if you will. And we all know it's happening. It's for real. We can say that we're going to be ourselves and, nothing's going to change. But we do adjust and change because we want to be seen in a great light. We don't want the rejection. We want to be chosen. And so we are shifting some of the things that we do, some of the things that we say, sometimes some of the things we like and don't like. But we're also trying things and learning about ourselves in the process. So folks said, wait, take some time to observe the other person, meet their family, see how they interact with family. How does in this case, this was a lot of the women saying, how does the man treat his mom? How does he treat his dad? How does he interact with his siblings? The same is true for women. If you are a man who is looking at marrying someone, you need to see that. What is the relationship like between the woman and her mom and her dad and her siblings? How much, we talk about the in-laws and them being in the marriage in some ways when, whether they should or not, that's for each individual relationship to decide. But, is the in-law somebody that's all in the business? Is the in-law someone that knows everything that's going on? Is the in-law, the type of person that's going to give good sound advice and push you toward each other, or someone that might cause division in the marriage because, for some moms, the son is gone now and they want still that tie. They want that tie to that son. Y'all pray for me. I got 3 sons, and eventually I will have 3 daughter-in-laws at some point. Well, that's my assumption, that there'll be daughter-in-laws. But I don't want to be that mom. I want to equip them. I want to, encourage them. I want to empower them and let them go out, make their choices, make their mistakes, and make a good choice for what they want to do. And even if it's not a great choice, it's their choice. I want to respect that. And I want to encourage them to work through their relationship. I can be here to provide some wisdom, but not to be all in your business, all in your relationship. I'm not marrying the person, you are. So you need to make sure that's a good choice. And so meet that family, understand the family system and dynamics that are at play. When there's conflict, do people talk about it? Do they fight about it? Do they fight fairly? Do people listen to the other person and try to work through it? Is the relationship important? Do they just do dysfunctional stuff? Because if you see it in the family, you're going to see it in the relationship. It is going to come out from that other person because they've been steeped in that, right? Or on the other side, do they handle it well? Do they talk to each other? Do they acknowledge the fact that there is an issue? Do they say, I'm sorry? All of those things are really, really important. And so I want you to think about that in this piece of wait. I think that is huge, huge. Wait, be patient, take your time. Take your time. Make sure the person has the skills and the desire and motivation to do what's required for the relationship to be successful. And so give it time, because you really want to get past that euphoria stage. You want to see the real, true person. You want to make sure that this is the right decision for you. You want to make sure you have enough time to gather the information required to make a decision. It's a big decision. It's huge, because there are so many implications around. Now you are joining each other spiritually, you are joining each other physically, you are joining each other financially. And those things have lasting effects well beyond whether a relationship survives or not, and into the relationship. So wait. Can't say it loudly enough to all my nieces, to all my goddaughters, to all of my mentees. Wait. Take your time. Do not attach yourself to the first person that comes along who says you're cute, who thinks that you're wife material. Give it some time. Gain some perspective and enough time to gather the information that you need to make an informed decision. Now, I'm going to say this because you might give it a lot of time and still may not be the best decision for you. It still might not work out, but at least you're going into it with your eyes open and you know what you're getting into. You've given yourself the time to try to sort through what's what. That's not a guarantee that it's going to work and be an awesome relationship, but give it time, because people can be crazy. Their parents can be crazy. Their family can be crazy, and it's all going to impact you. Their ideas around handling finances can be crazy. They can be irresponsible. So if you knew, or they can be very responsible. And it's not just about the other person. It's about you too. There's some stuff that you need to learn about yourself before you get married. And if you're really young, you're still figuring it out. You're still learning. You're going to be figuring it out and learning for a long period of time. With it, that's lifelong, right? It should be, if you're living, breathing, and seeking to be a good human, then you're finding out things along your way. You're trying to figure it out. So I want you to consider that it's not just about seeing the other person and really getting a lot of information from them and their family and understanding their orientation to life, but it's also about understanding yours, understanding who you are. What are those non-negotiables for you? And if you haven't figured that stuff out yet, you're going to try to figure it out in a marriage while you're trying to compromise and build something. And sometimes that creates additional conflict that makes it kind of difficult. So, all right, wait. So number one was don't do it. Number two was wait. So you wait. If you're going to do it, give yourself the time that you need. All right. So number three, folks said, if you have any inkling of doubt, then don't do it or wait longer. You are not crazy. So if you're feeling something that's off and you can't quite put your finger on it, you need some more time. If your instinct is telling you, our hearts are you know, our hearts can be kind of, okay, we're grabbing onto this person and this idea that we romanticize marriage so much, and then we get in it and we realize this is not it. People said it was work, but damn, this is work. And it's challenging me and it's challenging the other person, and we're having conflict with each other. If you have an inkling of doubt, you need to wait. I remember someone years ago who got married, and I would say by the time this person was maybe 24, married and divorced. Right? And you're just like, damn, really, married and divorced by 24. But knew that she shouldn't marry the guy, but went ahead anyway because the train had left the station, is what she felt like. She's, the wedding was planning and the date was here and the invitations had been sent, and she had some doubt, but the mom was, moving forward, and there was this sense that I don't want to disappoint everyone else. But what you don't want to do is sign up for a life of hell for yourself in an attempt to not disappoint anyone else. If you have an inkling of doubt, you need to wait. Give it more time. If you have to move the wedding date out, okay, what's the worst that could happen? No big deal. But it's a bigger deal if this is not a good choice for you or the other person. If you are going into this relationship thinking, okay, well, he or she will change. No, baby, they're not going to change. It is what it is. You have to listen to yourself, listen to your spirit, listen to your sense of discernment, listen to that gut where something is just feeling off. So many times we discount that, but we know that it's real. A lot of the times it doesn't steer us wrong. And though marriage is something you're going to have to work at, sometimes it shouldn't be that damn hard. Life is going to throw you some shit. It really is. And you're going to have to deal with that. But if you're having to deal with the everyday stuff that's that hard, something's not right. Something's not right, baby girl. You need to think about that. Something's not right, baby boy. You need to think about that. And so if you can't handle the little stuff that's coming and everything is a battle, then when life hits you, I don't know how you're going to survive that. So if you're going in thinking this is going to change, something's going to change about the other person, or they're going to get better, or they say they're going to work on it, but they're not working on it, you need to pay attention. Pay attention. So if you're thinking, oh, okay, I'm just tripping. My expectations are too high. I'm just tweaking. I'm being extra, whatever that is. No, if you have some standards, then you have standards. And if the person isn't meeting those standards and they're reasonable, basic things, you're not tripping. You are not crazy. This just might not be the right situation for you to go forward with. So I want you to give yourself, your instinct, your sense, your spirit more credit in the process. If something ain't feeling right, then it probably isn't right. My sister says all the time, if it's easy, it's sleazy. So if you're thinking this is going to kind of happen and it's going to be that easy, maybe not. Maybe not. So how do you feel about this other person? And, like I said, marriage is work, but sometimes this feeling that this is just work, no, you need to gain some perspective about what should be work, what shouldn't be work, and what choices you can make differently that are going to help the marriage to be successful, because you're not working through basic compatibility, basic alignment issues that you're going to constantly be fighting about. So you want to know, is there a non-negotiable at play here? Is this something that I just cannot deal with? This person thinks it's okay I'm going to give you an extreme example. They think it's okay to have a friend, it's a female friend come into town and stay at their house. You might be okay with that. You might not be okay with that. You need to know if those kinds of things are non-negotiables for you. This person takes off their clothes, and the clothes are from the door to the bedroom. They they start undressing when they come in and to the bedroom, and you walk out and you're just like, what the hell? Is that a non-negotiable for you? Is it a non-negotiable that they have children and you're not trying to be a step parent, for example? You have to know what are the things that are non-negotiables for you? Are they at play in this relationship? Are some of the things just stylistically different and y'all can work through that because they're not big deals? Do you even know what your non-negotiables are? Because if you don't, you need to figure that out now before you get married. Because if you get married and then you figure out later on there's a non-negotiable, well, damn, that's a problem. So if you have an inkling of doubt, if you're trying to figure it out, you need to wait. It may be that the decision is proceed with caution and it's proceed later after you work through some things. It may be, nope, this is the end of this road. Either way, make the best decision for you, not for everybody else, for you. And then there's this other piece of people saying, well, they have so much potential. They can just, I think this person is going to conquer the world. They're going to go forward. They have all these wonderful dreams and these plans. And that's cool, baby. That's cool if they got dreams and plans. But there's some action required to go with those dreams and plans. And if you're not seeing that level of commitment, motivation, then you might not be a good match for each other. So this whole idea of marrying somebody that has potential, that's awesome. You have potential, they have potential, but you need to see that there is some action that goes along with that. You're not marrying potential. That potential's not realized. If you are not marrying somebody that has the ability to realize that potential, that's really trying to realize the potential, not selling you a story, not dreaming only, that's important. The dreams are there. But if I'm not seeing the action that goes along with that, pause. Wait. Let me see what you're going to do with this. Because, there a lot of people talk about this scripture that says, don't be unequally yoked. If I am a dreamer and I am driven and I'm running at 60 miles an hour toward my dream and you're back here at 20, that feels unequally yoked. There's no way that, that you know what the yoke is the thing that goes, it's the device that goes and attaches two oxen to a cart, right? Now, if both are attached, they need to be running about the same speed in order to pull this cart. If one is going at 60 and one is going at 20, what you think happening to the cart? How is that working? So when you're talking about being equally yoked, this is not just about having two people that are Christian in relationship. There are a whole lot of Christians out here, and a whole lot of those Christians are different and could be good choices for a spouse. So you've got to make sure that your goals and your dreams also align, and the motivation and the amount of effort you're willing to put in to achieve that potential is there. Right? Potential does not necessarily mean achievement. Yes. Miss Weatherly said that. It doesn't. The graveyard is full of people that had potential and didn't realize. Everybody has a good idea, right? Everybody has a good idea, but it takes work to get that idea to reality. And if you're not willing to put in the work, I can't eat with an idea. The kids can't eat because you got a good idea. I need you to do the work to put it in order to do that. So I I number one, some people just said don't do it. You need to really understand what this thing is that you're getting into, because it's so easy to get into. Number two, folks said wait. And number three, it's like if you have any doubts at all, you need to pause. Just pause for a second and figure out how to proceed. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and then I will see you on the other side, and we're going to continue this conversation. I am seeing lots of chats going on and comments. Awesome. This is definitely hitting a hot button. So I'll see you on the other side of the break, and we'll continue this conversation.
WIFTVPM.
I'm blessed.
Church Chicago's Power Hour. I'm your host, Angie Mims, and
Terrence Keys, TD, a.k.a. Terrence Daniels.
You got an inspirational word for today?
Oh, man, I'll be honored. Giving honor to God. Hey, man, on Sunday morning, it's early, so we got to give honor to God.
Yes, sir.
The good word for today is don't worry.
Mm-hmm.
Oftentimes in our life, in our walk, in our days, in our journeys, we find a way to just worry about so many things. Yeah. And we just want to encourage you today that those worries is God's responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
It's God's responsibility, because at the end of the day, what we worry about, most times we can't handle.
Yes.
If we would agree together, we can't handle it. So we have to give it to God. That's his responsibility. Mm-hmm. And our job is to simply believe.
Yes.
Simply believe. When we believe, the Bible says all things are possible.
Come on through here.
I better leave that alone.
Preaching already.
You feel it? So be anxious for nothing. Even the Bible says don't worry about anything. In Matthew 6:33 it says don't worry about anything, but seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these other things be added unto you. So we're here to encourage you.
Sissy's Taco Bar Pop-Up is back with more hours and more days. Check them out at their new pop-up location at The Woodlawn, located 1200 East 79th Street. Sissy's Taco Bar offers authentic street tacos infused with international soul. Now every Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at The Woodlawn from 12 p.m. to 7 p.m. New vegan tacos have been added to the menu too. Visit sissytacobar.com for more info.
Yeah. Ooh. I miss your kiss. Oh, your kiss is one of a kind. It feels so nice. Girl, you do it right. I miss. Ooh. Oh, girl, you don't go too fast. You take your time. How I miss. Hey. Oh, you kiss it, then I'm drifting off your love. Keeps me floating, girl. I miss.
All right, welcome back to I Do, I Did, I Don't with Tasha Napper on What's in It for the Black People Media. Make sure you are liking, sharing, and following. I'm sure this has been good information. So I want you to share it with those young women and young guys who are thinking about marriage. This is hard-earned wisdom. So make sure that you share it with them. Send them the broadcast and let them listen in and gain some perspective and have some conversation with them about it afterwards. So we have been talking about, first of all, let me say that joint that was just playing before we came back, man, had me in here ready to step. Yes, I can step. I'm good at it too. I enjoy it. And I was ready to get out of this chair. DJ, doing it back there. Thank you. All right. So we have been talking about marriage advice to younger women, from women who have been divorced, who have walked the path, who have gained some hard-earned wisdom. As some of the old people say, ain't no sense like bought sense. We are trying to share that wisdom and that sense with you in order to help you to have better outcomes and have a better shot at being successful at marriage because you understand what some of the pitfalls can be. You understand what some of the things that you need to consider up front, and some of the things we're going to talk about that you might need to do to protect yourself in the process as you're considering marriage. So we talked about many people just saying, don't do it. Do you really need to be married to live the life that you want? This one is tough because it's like telling kids, don't rush to grow up. Every child wants to be older. You know, they can't wait till they get to that age, whatever it is, right? And because we romanticize it. We romanticize being adult, making decisions, having money, being the only person that really gets to decide and have our way with what we want. We romanticize that, and we don't counterbalance that message with, you know what, I got to go to work on days I don't want to go to work. When I'm sick, I still have to work. If I don't go to work, then I don't have anything to eat. No, I can't buy you these toys as a kid. Whatever those things are, we don't always give the full picture. And so it's so hard to tell people don't get married. Think about it, when so much of our culture is romanticizing this idea of marriage, even though half of the people are getting divorced. It's like we keep doing the same thing over. And that's why I'm doing this show. That's why I'm talking about this, because there's more information that we need to share and be open about to give a realistic picture so that people can make good decisions for themselves. A lot of times, I think all of us have heard someone say, man, how come I didn't know this? Or how come nobody told me this? Or, you know, dang, I didn't know this. Like, I thought it was just that we don't have true pictures of what really goes on. And some of that is age appropriate. But once you get married, like, we need to have the conversations for real. We need to talk about it. When you're starting to date and these young people are starting to date, we need to help equip them in responsible ways. So, you know, that whole idea about don't do it, it is something to think about. Do you really need to be married in order to create a committed life with an individual? Do you need to be legally married? Then wait. If you decide that that's what you want to do, wait, give yourself time, give the other person time to encounter enough situations to uncover who you really are and who they really are. Really, really important. And then if you have any inkling of doubt, don't discount yourself. Don't brush it off. Don't think that it's just weird. You're just tweaking, whatever. You need to give that some credit. And you know what? As I talked about that, if you have an inkling of doubt, sometimes people around us, our family, may come to us and say, you know what? I don't know. This seems interesting. It seems like he may not be the best match for you. We need to listen to those things, because a lot of times what we want to do is say, oh, well, they're just being jealous, or they're not married, or whatever excuse we find for ourselves. We find a reason to discount what someone may notice and see. Instead of double clicking on it, let's talk about that. Let me try to understand what you're really trying to say here, as opposed to, I'm going to discount it because I want to find every reason to keep barreling forward down this path, even though it may not be the right decision. Because sometimes people will tell us, well, yeah, that's what I meant when I was saying this. That's, yeah, I kind of saw that, but they might have felt like they couldn't say it to you. So if you're the person that's seeing something, say it. Say it to the other person. Say it in love. We get so afraid sometimes that we can't say something because people are going to feel like we're trying to block them. We don't want them to be successful. Start from that place. I want you to be successful. I really want you to have a great marriage. You know that I'm here for you no matter what decision you make, no matter what happens in the process. But I'm seeing something that I want you to pay attention to. I don't know. Have you felt like this? You may just confirm something that's in that person's spirit, their gut, their intuition, their discernment that they haven't been able to name. And now you are empowering them to now pay attention to that and do the work that they need to do in order to move forward in a way that can help them to be successful. Or I think even if you decide that the relationship, the marriage is not the right decision, you're still moving forward in a way that can help you to be successful. Much better to make the decision to not move forward with something that you know from the start, or you have some real feelings about isn't going to work out well. So definitely wait, listen, watch, pay attention, and learn yourself, learn who your mate is in the process. So don't wait, folks said wait if you have an inkling of doubt. And then there was a lot of stuff around the financials, around making sure that you prepare yourself and put safeguards in place that if you do divorce, there is a way for you to be financially whole and successful on the other side of a divorce. So like I started saying from the beginning, if you knew what the divorce laws were at the beginning, it might change how you decide to proceed with a marriage, because everything gets divided. And what's equitable may not mean that it's totally equal 50-50, but now this is joint property. And so if you're someone who has waited and taken some time, and now you've gone into, you're in a relationship and you're considering marriage, well, you've built your career, you've built a pension plan, maybe you've built a retirement, you've built some savings, you may have acquired some things. That was your hard work, and you want to make sure that that's protected. Now, if you knew that, for instance, you took the house that you own, you two decide that you're going to live in that home, and that's the marital residence, and you want to be the good spouse and put the other person's name on the home that you bought with the money that you worked for, took out of your retirement, whatever. So now you put the other person's name on it. If you knew down the line in divorce that now you have to split that because it is marital property, you might decide, oh, I need to do something differently here. Some of these things are things that should be talked about up front, and we don't do that. We don't do the work of really looking at it. I was talking to a friend who said the premarital counseling that she and her husband did, the organization that did the counseling, I think it was church-based. They make the two people bring copies of their credit reports, and they look at them. They go through those credit reports. And the person that was doing their counseling said, you would be surprised the number of people who do not move forward to get married after they do that step. Why don't we do that? Are we too shy? Are we too afraid? Are we too scared? Do we want to hide? What is it? Because later, it's all going to be laid bare, either in the marriage, and it's going to be when it can potentially be a problem that challenges the ability for the marriage to be successful, or it's coming out in divorce. But it's coming out. So we just don't have these level of conversations and transparency that we really need to have. Now, how easy is it to get married? You go apply for a license with your state. You both sign that you're applying for a license to get married. And then you get, you have your day in front of a judge, in front of a minister, whoever. You sign the marriage certificate. Bam, you are married. Pretty simple. No preparation required. No, you have to do that work. Like, the state's not going to require that of you. And if you don't require it of yourself and figure out what you need to do in order to try to be successful, 2 signatures, bam, boom, married. How easy is it to get divorced? Let me tell you, it's a hell of a lot harder. Because now, you could have married at first saying, we're agreeing, right? We're going to do this thing together. But if you don't understand all the rest of those things that are in the, later on, if it doesn't work, then you really have a problem later because you didn't do the work of preparing up front. So in order to protect some of your assets, you will need a prenup. You will need a prenuptial agreement. It can be before you get married or post after you get married, but you need a nuptial agreement. Let's say it that way. And that is to say, I think it helps you to preserve your relationship in the end if it's not working well, because you've already decided, here's what's fair. Here's what we agree on. Once you get in the midst of a divorce, like it's so highly emotional. It is so fear-based in whether the person is going to be able to be successful moving forward in their relationships, or not necessarily relationships, but in their life, in their relationship with money, and just it becomes this whole crazy, just irrational process. And so if you can help yourself by thinking about that stuff up front and making some decisions then that's going to help you later on to manage the relationship once you are no longer together. Or if you have children together that you still have to raise, it's going to help you. You got to understand those finances. You got to understand what marriage means legally and what that is binding you to, because it is a legal contract. And now that legal contract has to be legally dissolved. And there's a lot of stuff that has to happen in order for that to take place. So you want to protect your assets. You want to secure them as yours. Now, even if you don't have very much, okay? So in my case, I started, married relatively early, had started working in my career, but hadn't acquired a whole lot yet. Didn't think there was a need for a prenup. But had I had this wisdom, then I would have absolutely had one, because I knew the drive that I had and what I was going to do and work hard for and achieve. And I had the hustle. So it was going to go down and I was going to be successful moving forward with what I wanted to do in the life that I was trying to create for myself. Now, if the other person is going to do that, let's do it. But if the other person isn't, all right, now you're probably going to have this unequally lopsided kind of thing now where you have put all the work in and the other person is benefiting from that. Now, I'm not talking about a situation where the person is, you've agreed one's going to stay home, one's going to take a different role. Then you should be fair and equal, right? But if you are saying, no, you need to do your part, I'm going to do my part, somebody's not doing their part, so we need to, you don't get to share all my part if you didn't do your part. You hear what I'm saying? So it's stuff like that. Like, you don't think you have much, even if you just have a car. What's yours before needs to be yours afterward. And there are things that you have to do in order to protect your assets afterwards. You can make some wrong steps that are going to put you in a bad position. Okay. So you have to be involved. You have to be involved in the finances from the beginning and having the real conversations. If you can't talk about and show your credit report to this person, I don't know if you need to be marrying this person. What you trying to hide? What's the issue? Because like I said, it's going to come out later. Right? So up front, you need to know that information. You need to know how to handle money, how to think about money. During the marriage, you need to be involved in your finances. I did not do this well. I didn't. Made good money. Just brought it home. I did not do it well. And part of it was I didn't want to. Part of it was I can't do all this and that too. Part of it was, okay, I don't do it the way you do it, and so let's just not argue about this. Why don't you just do it? But that is not the right way to play this. Let me tell you, it is not. You have to be involved. You have to have some visibility, because before you know it, you can be taken advantage of. Before you know it, things can be your taxes. Someone, Cassandra, I think it was, who told us when we talked that there was this tax bill outstanding that was major. And now in divorce, part of it is hers. What the hell? What did you do? But you're trusting the other individual, but there has to be accountability. Okay, so trust can be there, and trust needs to be there to be accepted to be successful in the relationship. But accountability is a must as well. It has to be there. It has to be there, and that means that you are looking at the finances, that you're paying attention to those other things, like somebody just got dressed up in cologne on, and they're not going with me. Pay attention to this stuff, right? So you have to be involved. You have to know where the money is going. You have to know where your money is. You have to know what decisions are being made regarding investments, regarding retirement. You should have some visibility. And lots of people said basically have some financial independence. Do not put yourself in a situation where you do not have money if something goes left, right? So you have joint bank accounts, but you don't have one of your own. Almost every person said you need to have your own bank account in your name only. In your name only. Separate from his, separate from a joint account. You need to have your own. And on top of that, you need to have a stash. You need to have a rainy day fund. You need to have an emergency fund. That is yours, not his, not yours together jointly. You have to have money in case. Like if you're a stay-at-home mom and you're working in the home, and I have seen this recently with several friends of mine where the spouse decides, in this case, the male decides he's making the money. They have agreed this is how they're going to run their household, right? So the mom's staying at home, the male's working, decides he no longer wants to be married, gone, money gone, everything. No idea what's happening with the finances, no way to be financially independent or successful, totally dependent on the other person. You can't put yourself in that situation, ladies. You cannot. You cannot. So you've just got to, you have to pay attention. You have to have some things in your own name to make sure that you have some insurance, essentially, for yourself should you need it. Very, very important. So I got through maybe half of this list. I think this is going to be a show part 2, maybe next week, where we talk about what is the other wisdom that can be imparted to younger people who are considering marriage from the wisdom gained by folks who have been married and divorced and gone through both of these processes and can now understand how they should view it differently. And so I appreciate the feedback that I got from everyone. I appreciate the knowledge. I want you guys sharing this. The whole point is to not just for us to commiserate about it. That's helpful, but we need to share it so that this next generation can be better. They can be better. They can do better, and they can be better on the other side should they find themselves in a marriage and should they find themselves getting divorced. So wonderful to talk to you today. Enjoyed it. You guys have a wonderful Sunday, and I will see you again next week, and we're going to continue this conversation.
Loving you has always been easy because it's true.